Welcome to Love and Trauma, the real deal. I'm Danielle Sebastian, best-selling author, coach, and yes, I've been through the marriage trenches myself. This show is all about how to actually deal with trauma in relationships and make it work without losing your mind. If you're ready for honest talk, no fluff, and tools that cut through the noise, tune in because let's face it, love can be a bit of a mess, but it's a mess worth figuring out. This is Love and Trauma, the real deal.
Okay, you guys are not ready for this one. Today, I'm talking with Garisha Andrea. She is a certified sex, love, and relationship coach, orgasm coach, grief specialist, and trauma healer. I know that's a lot of titles, but trust me, every single one matters. Garisha has helped women and men reconnect with their bodies after trauma, abuse, and loss. She's trained in over 100 healing methods and created her own holistic framework, the Impress O method, that integrates body, mind, spirit, and emotions. And let me tell you, when she talks about living an orgasmic life, it's not just about swinging from chandeliers. It's about presence. It's about pleasure as your birthright. It's about finally feeling safe enough to feel joy. This conversation blew me away. We talked about how trauma shuts down your capacity for pleasure and what to do about it, why just say how you feel backfires when your nervous system is in survival mode, and what it really looks like to start healing from the inside out, and how her work with men has opened her eyes to how much pain men carry, but are often too ashamed to express. We even got into the gender differences she sees in her coaching practice, why women tend to numb out and men often suffer in silence, and how both desperately need safety, softness, and support, not more judgment or shame. And if you stay to the end, Garisha shares practical, doable ways you can begin to reconnect with your body, even if you've been shut down for years. No pressure, no pushing, just a gentle invitation back to yourself. This episode is emotional, raw, and also a little hilarious because if we can't laugh about our healing, are we even doing it right? So let's dive in. Thank you so much, you guys. I am so excited to welcome Garisha Andrea to interview today. Garisha, your title alone stops people in their tracks. Certified sex, love, relationship coach, orgasm coach, and grief specialist. Tell us a little bit about the story behind that. How did you become this woman and this work?
I grew up in a small town in Hungary, in Eastern Europe, and my father was very abusive, all kinds of abuse, and so this is how I grew up, with a lot of fear and a lot of tension and a lot of kind of like standby position. Scary, a lot of scarcity. I had
When
so
did
much
you
shame.
realize that that could be something that you needed to work on to live your best life?
Can you imagine? I was 30.
So what happened when you were 30
Mhm.
that made you realize that there might be a different way?
Yeah, up till my 30, so especially when I started to work, I choose the workplaces according to I needed to work hard and I needed to prove myself. And I was working in a high position in a company, working with the EU accession of Hungary, and literally I was working day and night. And I was living in a relationship, but I had no clue that it was not a working relationship at all, because I didn't know how to nourish the relationship. I didn't know that I need to be there, and I just realized that whether I'm getting to 30 and this is the life, I'm just working and doing nothing. And my health, I had some health issues, and I was also feeling that I'm not fully myself. And even though I didn't know who I am, and
What
I
was your
wanted to
relationship like on a day-to-day basis? If you could
day-to-day basis.
explain that to us.
It was nothing. It was very interesting. I went, especially in 11 years ago, just right half a year, just right before the EU accession of Hungary. I was working during the night. Sometimes I just went home to change my dresses.
Was it kind of like you were just roommates?
Yeah, and roommates, but even for days, for weeks, we haven't met. Because he was also working. He was working abroad, and I was doing my own job. And so it was like, sometimes we were talking on the phone, and it was a kind of, that it was in a way that I couldn't get out of it. When
I would assume that
there is no way out, because I had a lot of work. I was in a high position with a lot of responsibility. And if no one did the work, I had to do that.
I would assume that there wasn't much intimacy in your relationship as well.
No. Or when it was once a year, I mean, like in a month, I don't remember exactly, but it was very rare when we met. And I remember when once he was so kind to me, he was so gentle, and I was so much in my head, and I couldn't switch off. And I was close to the peak moment, but then it was like, and then there was a moment he asked me that, "Are you with me?" And it was like a thunderstorm. What? I was not with him, as I realized that I was not present in my relationship. I was not there at all. I was just focusing on my career, and I couldn't, as I said, I couldn't see the way out. And there was a moment when I felt that in so deeply it came that I want to be a mother. And later I learned that it could be the exit from this from this kind of life. And I was not enough brave to quit, because I had so much scarcity, which came from my childhood, that I couldn't stand up for myself.
You're not a quitter.
Not at all. I'm fighting until the end, and even very more. Because I needed to prove that I'm, my existence.
Well, it was a coping mechanism.
Yes. If they cannot see, I'm just showing, and I'm going, and even I don't have enough power or energy. I'm just like a survivor. I learned how to survive any kind of dangerous situation, how to please people, how to be, even I got so many, rejections and punishment and abandonment, then I'm going back. If they throw me out through the window, then I'm going to another way, or the back end.
Yeah. So did your marriage dissolve? What happened at 30?
Yeah, so after that, I started to talk about I wanted to have a baby. He said that let's wait for few more years. And I said, look, 10 years we've been together. What to wait for? And we started to talk, and then I realized that, okay, it's not, we are not at the same boat. We are not at the, we don't have the same vision together anymore. And then I said the last word that, okay, Jen, then just finish this. And I started this grieving process. What was the The first one, because he was my first relationship, he was my first love. And 2 weeks, within 2 weeks, my grandfather died. And I didn't know how to handle all of this while we were still I just ran away into the work more.
Yeah.
And then, so it was a little bit too much for me, but this was not still the point when I started my inner journey.
Okay, so the relationship dissolved. You had to deal with was it your grandfather's death?
Grandfather, yeah. And we are a small family, and he was the first I lost. Because I was a little girl when my great grandmother died, so I didn't remember. So he was the first one I lost, and in my childhood, he was, besides of my abusive father, he was always like a kind of like a pilgrimage for me, a kind of like I can run, and then he was hugging me, he was giving compliments to me. I felt his love. And so it was a big loss for me. And somehow I couldn't talk about that. And even though at that time I didn't know, what grief means or grief work, because I grew up in a Christian family. So, loss and death was a really, really big thing and really, really painful. And so after that, I was working hard. And a few months later, my boss told me that he couldn't pay for us. So I was out of money after a few months. And then it also affected on my health. So it was so much just within few months, all of this. And
what was your health effect?
It was a kind of like I started to be allergic for all kinds of food. I also and also I burnt out as I didn't sleep for long, so I had a lot of deficit in sleeping, and so my body just couldn't manage all of this, and I was sleeping 12 hours a day, and I couldn't do anything. So it was absolutely a burnt out in a way. Luckily not a very serious other sickness or illness, but it was much than enough for me. And so after I decided to quit because of my health issues, and so I was there alone. I was there without money, and even the electricity was cut off because I couldn't pay the bills. And after that, as I worked hard and worked a lot, so I didn't have so much relationship with my parents. And I was so ashamed to ask for help from them because I was absolutely rejecting them. I didn't meet with them because my work was much more important. So I was completely alone. And, I had no friends either because I was just with my work. And that was the point when suddenly, I don't know how, I just met with someone and she suggested me a therapist to go.
Okay.
So this
right.
was and this was a kind of like half a year, 1 year process when I went through, and then I started this inner journey, and it was really
Okay.
hard. And I remember just I went there for a few months, kind of like weekly, bi-weekly. And once she said to me that now you are ready to do the work. And I said, what we've done before? And it turned out that I was absolutely in my stories, and I was not open to look at what was going on. And
Do you
after that,
feel like you have to build that trust with this person to be
no,
able to get to a point where
no,
you can go deep, or was it all you? Basically.
it was, it just I remember this moment, and I didn't understand what happened. I had a trust. I was talking all the time.
You were talking about, okay.
Yeah, I was talking all the time, so
Okay.
I had no problem to talk. But what I think that she meant that I was talking on the surface, and I was not ready to go deeper, to really look at the reasons, to really look at my childhood, because it became my natural way of living, you know, that I'm the victim, I'm the drama queen, you know, I'm blaming everyone else, what I learned from my father, but I'm silenced, and I'm not taking responsibility for my life, I can say. So what came from
Was it
all,
shame? Do you feel like that you had to deal with the shame?
I think I had to deal with so many things.
Yeah. Which ones? Stand
I
out.
think besides of the shame, just look at that my first 30 years were absolutely not about me. Everyone else told me what to do, what not to do. I was not, yeah, on one hand, I was not responsible for my life because I didn't know I could. I felt I was completely powerless, although as I worked hard, I had a lot of power and energy to survive. And also that I was in a survival mode. And maybe just that I was so naive, and I trusted everyone's word, and I didn't trust myself. And I completely closed and silenced so many things, and closed in, as usually I'm saying, in a black box. And I didn't want to remember. Even my mom doesn't remember my childhood. So I can imagine from after these 21 years of inner work that much more was there, what we try to protect ourselves not to remember. And I had so much pain around the rejections, and several times my word was questioned. Therefore, I was absolutely doubting myself. Therefore, that's why I was also studying law, because I could see, you know, the fresh law lawyers. They were so confident, and even though I had so much experience and knowledge, then I was not confident at all.
And in your relationship, you didn't want anybody to see what was deep down.
In my relationship, I think if I was also kind of like rolling back, if I had a friend and I could talk about what's going on in my relationship, definitely earlier I can look at that this is not a so-called relationship. And when I'm looking back after 4 years, the intimacy was gone, and I was also pilled, so I started to be frigid as well. So with no sex drive, because you know I had a lot of creativity in my work. So definitely my this sexual life force, creative energy was absolutely I was putting in the work. So I didn't need this, and I don't know how it started to really, or what was the first one, my work or the relationship, when our intimacy was just disappearing, and even looking back, I didn't know this is not normal.
Right.
And you know, in the 90s, there was not so many spirituality or healing work, especially you know in my hometown, or even in Budapest. So it was not as common as today, that easier and earlier you can look at that this is not the relationship I really wanted. and I had no relationship pattern. So what I could see in my parents' relationship, that they were fighting. There was always my mom tried to make it peacefully, and even just silently, that okay, just okay, do it everything for my father, and not to make it bigger fast. So and I had a lot of punishment, so it was better than from in my relationship. I had no physical abuse, and also in the sense sexual abuse was not existing, because I was telling him that I was also abused, so he was very kind with me sexually. But I can see that also verbally he was abusing me so much, which was also natural for me. And that's why earlier I couldn't see it, and I was absolutely blind.
So you started to realize after going to the therapist that there was a different way to live.
Yes. Yes.
So what did that work look like for you?
Sorry for the technical difficulties. We are just in the process of trying to find that second interview so that we can play it with you. And I am hoping that you are enjoying and just seeing how much work Garisha has done to come back from where she was, where she was just a workaholic and pretty much she reports feeling pretty dead inside, to now she is one of the brightest and most amazing women that I have been able to interview. And if she can do it, any of you can. I know that. So, from the first part of the interview, I'm hoping that you can hear how Girisha, she really did use a lot of her survival techniques that she developed from her childhood that served her and was able to help her survive her childhood. But in adulthood, they really became toxic and kept her from being the person that she really wanted to be. So she wasn't able to.
Banging your head against the wall, trying to navigate the complexities of a relationship impacted by childhood trauma, it doesn't have to be this daunting. When you're married to a partner with unresolved childhood trauma, it can feel like you're walking on eggshells, never quite knowing what will set them off. No matter what you try, it feels like there's always something triggering another emotional response that seems completely out of context. And the harder you try to fix it, the more discouraged you feel. So what's the issue here? Navigating marriage with a trauma survivor is different. The love languages don't work. Date nights don't work. Self-help books don't help. But here's the good news. I've created something that does work. Something built from years of hard-earned lessons and real-life experience. Ready to take the first step toward real change? Let's talk. I'm offering a free one-on-one call where we'll dive into what's going on in your relationship and figure out a way forward together. This isn't just another quick chat. It's a chance to finally be heard, to share what you're going through with someone who truly gets it. No judgment, just real support. So if you're ready to start making sense of it all and find a little more peace in your marriage, book your free call now. Your happiness, your peace, and your relationship are worth it. Let's do it together.
This opened me as a kind of like huge gates and doors. And I started to learn different modalities, energy healing. And through energy healing, I met with so many different illnesses and problems. So I could see more, the human side of ourselves. Because before
So
that,
what is energy healing? Tell me what that does.
energy healing was like just working with the palm, and also with we have the energy body, and also in distance healing. So I learned how to connect with others, how to send healing energy, and also different kind of sicknesses, and it was a little bit overwhelming for me after a few years, and I was looking for different modalities. So in the last 20 years, I studied mainly abroad, hundreds of different methods, and this is how I created my own holistic method.
And is the idea that you're connecting with your past or releasing some of the things that happened in your past in order to live a healthier life? Is that the goal?
Yes, yes, it was.
Okay.
First, it was that to see what happened with me and how can I live a lighter and happier life. When I started this therapy, I I made a promise to myself to create harmony in my life, and I started in a way that every 2 months, because I love traveling. So every 2 months, I'm not waiting to anyone. I just travel, even just for a long weekend. And after that, and then this was the kind of like frame that within 2 months, I'm giving something to myself. And then I reduced it 1 month and 1 week, and also daily. How can I create harmony, to nourish myself, to be with myself, to connect with others, to work, to, just every area of my life, how I can create this harmony. And it was very interesting because in the last few years, on the 1st of January, I usually choose a word for the year. And this year, I was waiting for that. It didn't come. There were some words, but I didn't feel that this is my truth. And I think it was at the end of January or something when it came harmony. And I said, harmony. And it reminded myself that, oh my gosh, this was my promise 21 years ago.
Oh, that's so great. I
I
love
know,
that.
I have
I love
goosebumps.
that concept you do of harmony. And so how long would you say? So that was, it started in your 30s and it was just adding steps in and learning tools about how you could better take care of yourself and what you deserved out of life, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Was
That,
it
that
hard? Was it hard for you?
it was
Tell
really
me
hard.
tell me how that felt, adding those
Yeah, it was
steps
really,
in.
you know, facing with what I didn't want to see, facing with the darkness I grew up. It was really hard. Sometimes it was much harder than be there
Being
when
in it.
when I was a little girl. Yeah,
Because now you know that it didn't have to be that way,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, yeah. And I was crying so much.
Yeah.
I was sometimes when I'm go to the ocean, and then something is coming up, I'm just shouting in the infinite blue, with
Like mad, like
like
what do
yeah,
pain?
pain and anger, because I
Yeah.
suppress so much anger,
Yes.
and also sorrow. And sometimes, of course, self-pitying, because my nation, I'm also working in the last few years also our transgenerational patterns, and also checking and looking at my nationality, because Hungarian nation in the history, it was a amazingly and incredibly suffering nation. There were the Turks, there were the Austrian, the Germans, and there were the Russians. So we were always a kind of like servant. We were always suffered. We were,
Depressed.
yeah, and this is in our DNA. So therefore, it's kind of like extra what I'm carrying.
Right.
And when and then by the time when I started to go deeper and deeper, I realized that it's worth to go deep. It's worth to face with my darkness and my shadow and my pain. Because after that, it's like so light, it's so opening, it's so expansive. And even it's harder to look at what I've done or what I missed, or when I felt that I made a mistake, or when I was in a shameful situation and I felt that I had to keep it as a secret, because if I'm opening up, yeah, this could be also connected to this pain that, oh my gosh, just not to be open because the shame could grow so much. And when I started to open up, then I just realized how much weight I was carrying.
That is no life. That is
Yes.
no life.
Yeah.
And by doing the work, look at you now. I mean, you can see your energy and happiness and lightness, and that
Yes.
is so worth it.
Absolutely. So there is kind of like every kind of investment I've done, it's much more worthy than
And the pain.
I yes.
And the pain.
Yes, yes, yes.
So you
yes.
talk about living an orgasmic life. So for someone who's feeling numb, disconnected, and traumatized, what does that mean? What does that mean?
Yeah, I love this question because several times I also asked the question that how, orgasm and trauma are coming together,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Tell me.
Yeah, and
Yes.
why I'm saying that I'm orgasm coach and a trauma healing expert, and
Uh-huh.
also working with grief, because even not sexual trauma happened with us. As I mentioned, it could be only just verbal abuse. Several times you got this, you are this and this and this, and you start to become one with that. And my father usually, and even every single day, that you are a whore, or he told to my mom as well. So I had no clue what did it mean, but somehow I felt. And therefore I was shutting down, and then I was opening up, and so I was experiencing the edges. And I realized that first we need to do the healing work, and not like from fully shut down, fully disconnected from my body, fully with zero sex drive or have any kind of orgasmic problem. And I can tell that almost every woman have some kind of sexual organ problems, or sexual organ problems in their life. And even just some kind of like infection, it's also the sign that I cannot set my boundaries. I cannot say no. So for example, and then I can see also so many reasons of different kind of issues. So we need to do the healing work step by step. And this is how I'm creating a very safe space to really do the healing work. And then finding the safety inside of our body, it's something totally different what we were thinking safety means to us. Usually, the answer is that, safety, if I have a job, I have money, I have home, I have friends, I have a relationship, but these are outside things. So we need to connect with our body and healing our body. And everything is in our body, what we are carrying.
I really think that this is an unspoken and kind of under-addressed issue, that how much trauma comes out in our sexual and gynecological health.
Yes.
I really do.
And it shouldn't be, as I mentioned, it shouldn't be sexual way. It could be
any sort of trauma.
Any kind.
It's the suppressing, it's the holding things down, it's the constant stress and survival mode comes out in your body.
What happens because we shut down, we
Yep.
freeze, no? And then
Yes.
when I'm freezing, like there is this invisible wall between my body and how I'm experiencing the sensations in my body.
Pleasure,
and pleasure,
guilt.
exactly, yeah. And also pleasure, I'm also talking about pleasure in a way that it shouldn't be sexual. We could experience so many different kind of pleasures, and also we have amazing senses, and we are also suppressing and numbing our senses. And also how many times we are just I have essential oils, because
Yeah.
just smelling it, and then how many times we are just rushing with eating. We are not enjoying because we don't have time for that. And
Yeah.
just one moment or 1 minute in a day, just stop slowing down and just enjoying. I can tell that I can show it. Just enjoy.
Which one is that? What are you
It's
smelling?
it's a Hungarian my spirit.
Oh, I like that.
It's not just a solo essential oil, but it's a mix. And then it's like, when I'm just feeling, and even in my whole body, and just energizing,
Then
and
it could go to other areas of your life, right? If you open up your
and
senses.
how our life would be to start our day like this.
Oh, I
Just
know.
with enjoy, in my
Yeah.
morning coffee, I'm just enjoying my morning coffee
And
with
the
love,
fun mug,
right?
you have the fun mug. It's a ritual.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
like, and we don't need to kind of like hours for that.
No. Yeah. It's something you
These
can
are
literally start right now, right?
exactly. Yeah, and also we have the routines in the morning and the evening, right?
Yep.
And just be more conscious there, just be there, not in our mind, not in our head, just a little bit focusing on what's going on in my body, when I'm just touching my body, just gently, and then also being there. It would be also, our relationship could change so much, because we would start to really listen to the other, and we could experience that our partners, our friends, our family start to hear us.
So tell me, because you work with women, you started working with women, and now you're working with men. What does it look like in men? Is there a difference, or does it have does trauma have the same sort of effects?
Yeah, thank you very much for this question, because it's really important to talk about men as well. And so with men, the issue is that they learned harder to suppress their emotions, but they are so emotional. They have so much emotions, and they are also yearning for a true connections, and as the shame to talk about that they were weak in some situations, or for example, we are talking about narcissistic relationship, that men are narcissistic, but I have few clients, male clients, who are or were in narcissistic relationship with a woman.
Yes.
So it's like they are suffering much more, and it's harder for
in silence. Would you say it's
Yes.
more they're suffering in silence, whereas women tend
We are just
to
talking, right?
Yeah.
We are
Yeah.
just talking, complaining, and sharing
Yeah.
the
It's just
same
different.
stories all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you do that.
So
You do that work. Yeah.
for men, it's harder to talk. And but what I also experience, what they can feel, my energy, that I just want to see them as who they are, and holding them this safe and space, and they start to trust. And as I think previously I just mentioned to you that most of the time I'm the last person, because they tried so many different modalities and therapies and courses, and when they couldn't find the final results, what they were seeking for, then they find me. And so they lost a lot of trust, because they were promised so much, and the results were not aligned with the promises. So first we need to build trust and safety, and after that they open up, and I can tell that their story is sometimes much more touching than, and also kind of like painful than women, what they are sharing by women. And and it's so beautiful how they really open up, and we need men, and men need us, and are really working on so deeply how we can create harmony. And my year word is harmony.
Yes.
How first, how I can create harmony in myself, between my feminine and masculine, because since centuries and in the history, we were fighting each other. And now also women start to be like, I can do everything, I'm an Iron Woman,
Yeah.
I don't need a man. But we all need each other. And with this, this kind of energy, I'm just creating more fight. And if we are fighting for peace, if we are fighting for harmony, it will create more fight. So we need to find a way how we can make peace inside. And also, even though because I was abused by my father, but definitely I learned that kind of tools, how I can manipulate others. And even
Yeah.
unconsciously, I could use that. And the more conscious I am, the more I can make a choice whether use it or not.
Yep.
And also, so it's so important to, because now if you're looking around that in the spiritual work, in the business, there are much more women who are out there and give voice to their messages, which is very important because we were silenced. But if we are just thinking about that, how big competition is amongst women. And recently, and a few days ago, I had a conversation with someone, and I just realized, and I was just looking around, that I got so much hurt and shameful situations from women than from men.
And men are getting that from
Yes,
unhealed women.
exactly.
Yeah.
And also, if we are just thinking about that, women are mothers who are raising the next generation of men.
Yeah.
And if they are inside, or maybe just saying out loud that men are like this and this and this, then the little
Nothing
boy,
changes. Nothing
exactly,
changes.
and the little boys would take it personally, even though they are just hearing. And and this is will be the same loop, exactly what you said, that it's nothing changes. So this is the time we need to change.
Oh, so tell me, where can people begin, with this,
Mhm.
especially if they're scared, skeptical, or just really, really tired? Where can
Yeah,
people start?
I suggest to start step by step, not forcing, and find a way. So I think the easiest, not so mystified ways. The easiest way, what I just mentioned, that with your habits, look at your everyday rituals and
Yeah.
habits, and the routines, and how you can create a little bit, just for a few minutes, slowing down, enjoying the moments, especially if you are stressed out, how you can create more peaceful moments, when you can switch off your mind, even just any kind of body work, or going to the nature, or just drinking your morning coffee in peace, just doing nothing for 2 minutes, set your alarm for 2 minutes, and just allowing yourself doing nothing. And don't feel guilty because of this, because it's just 2 minutes of a day. And so, kind of like finding 1, 2 things, and when it's working, then adding more. So somehow, that kind of like open yourself. And I know
Yeah.
it's hard when you don't trust, when you feel that you are lost, when you don't have energy.
But do
Just
you think it's okay, like, to go with your gut? If it didn't feel right, don't give up.
Exactly. Yeah. And also
Ju-
that
Try
maybe
something else until you find something, I think. Because I think people get
exactly.
discouraged if they don't find that perfect fit right away.
Exactly, because
Yeah.
that's when we tried several things at the same time, especially in this kind of situation when I don't know what to do, when I lost,
Uh-huh.
when I don't have energy,
Right.
when I don't have any desires, then just try to find one piece of happiness in a day. What made you happy earlier? So kind of like go back what made you
Oh,
happy
I
earlier.
like that.
This could
Yeah.
also open the gate that, okay, yeah, I can remember, because your body remembers the heaviness, but remembers the good memories as well.
True.
So we are carrying all. So kind of like open that kind of gate when what made you happy earlier, if you cannot find anything right now, and also if you lost the trust, and as you mentioned, the gut feeling, and you are doubting everything,
Yeah.
just maybe ask the question, whom I can trust? What is my next step? And then when you are opening the space for yourself. And therefore we need to slowing down. We need to be stillness just for a few minutes and silent and just be there. And this could also open the gate.
What I think I'm hearing you say with somebody who just wants to get started but may not have just really not trust anyone, you can start with yourself. Doing
Absolutely.
some simple things that will get you back your senses. Stop, try to get you to not be so numb to things, and then be curious, right? With the universe, with yourself, about what those next steps could be.
But the world outside is so magical, and we are so worthy to really step into our full potential and experience as much as we can.
Thank you so much for your time today. And I know that you're going to make this huge difference in the world. Thank you. Whew, if you're still with us, thank you. This conversation hit deep, and I hope it left you with as many aha moments as it did for me. So here's the real deal, the 3 biggest takeaways I want you to walk away with. Number 1, healing doesn't start in your head. You can't think your way out of trauma. You have to feel your way through it, slowly, gently, and in a way that helps your body feel safe again. Whether it's through touch, stillness, breath, or your morning coffee ritual, reconnection starts with presence. Number 2, there is no normal when it comes to sex and intimacy. So many of us walk around thinking we're broken because we're disconnected, numb, or just can't relax and enjoy it. Garisha reminded us that it's not your fault. It's your nervous system doing its job, and there is nothing wrong with you. And my third big takeaway is that men need healing too, and often have no safe place to do it. Garisha's work with men reminded me that silence doesn't equal strength. Men carry shame, trauma, and emotional wounds too. Healing is not just for women, it's for all of us. And listen, I know how many relationships are in crisis right now. I know how many of you feel completely dead inside, just going through the motions, surviving day to day. But I want you to hear me. You didn't survive your past. You didn't fight for your relationship, and you didn't hold it all together this long just to live like that. You were made for more. And the first step back to pleasure, to joy, to feeling alive again might be smaller than you think. So take it today. You are worth it. We'll see you next week.
All right, that's a wrap for today on Love and Trauma, the real deal. Big thanks. Welcome to Love and Trauma, the real deal. All right, that's a wrap for today on Love and Trauma, the real deal. Big thanks to my guests for sharing their insights. Couldn't have done it without you. Now, for those of you looking to take this journey further, I've got something special. Head to my website to grab Real Tactics, Real Healing, a survivor's playbook for navigating a relationship with a trauma survivor. It's packed with everything you need to know, do, and say to navigate the emotional minefield, find your balance, and regain your self-worth and happiness.